Hi everyone, so I'm finally getting around to showing you and reviewing you the Quinny Hubb Duo. I've done a few reviews here on my YouTube channel, showing you some other pushchairs as well as another Quinny. We had the Quinny Mood, which we absolutely loved. So when it came to needing a pushchair for 2 children, I went straight to Quinny and found the Quinny Hubb Duo. Now this product was gifted to me, but as always I am going to give you my honest opinion because every product has pros and cons, but what is a con to me or a pro to me might not be a pro or con to you. So I'm just going to tell you how I felt using this product. We've been using it now for the past year. Alfie's almost a year old, so it's been around a year nearly. So I know it inside out. We have travelled with it, I use it daily, and it's the only pushchair that I'm using. So everything that I'm sharing with you is from a mum's perspective. I'm going to start by showing you how it was when Alfie was first born. So when Alfie was born, Pollyanna was well, like 16 months or something, so she was in the seat part of the pushchair, and Alfie was a newborn, so he was in the lie down Carrycot. The Quinny Hubb Duo can't be used with 2 baby cots, so if you had twins it wouldn't work like that. It works like this or 2 of the big seats, but I did just check and you definitely can't have 2 of the baby cots, that's all I know. However, if you have 2 under 2 or 2 at different ages, then this is the pushchair for you. The pushchair itself is so lightweight at this stage. Pollyanna, obviously now, she's a lot heavier. Alfie is a few stone himself. No, I don't know how heavy he is, but he's heavier now. So it's obviously different now, but back then it was so light. And the brake is just on the side here, which I didn't mind. I have seen some reviews where people saying it's annoying that it's under there, but for me, I don't think that has been a problem whatsoever. I really love how manoeuvrable it is. So the wheels at the front twiddle round 360. So although it's a long pushchair, you might find yourself having to like back up out of a room. You can do that easily. You don't feel under pressure. You don't feel like, oh my god, I've got to lift it up and I've got to pull it out. It's not stiff. It's not a stiff pushchair. It's so lightweight and breezy is like the word I would use for it. It's a very breezy pushchair. In that aspect, I absolutely loved it. The reason why I loved the Quinny more than any other double pushchair was because it was long, not wide. Now, some people prefer the wide one, but for me, we live in quite a small town. A lot of the shops are narrow doorways, and just the pavements even, a double pushchair on some pavements just don't work. And for me, I just wanted something that wasn't going to cause more problems. So this pushchair has been an absolute dream. I have not had any problems getting indoors or taking up room in shops or pavements. I was thinking the other day, like I was walking up a hill and it had a lip on the hill, like a little wall, and I was thinking if I had a double pushchair I would have to walk on the road. And that's just something to consider if you're looking at double pushchairs. Would that bother you? Would not being able to fit through a shop door bother you? It's just those little things to bear in mind when you're looking for a double pushchair, and for me that was the biggest selling point when it came to the Quinny, was the length of it. I know that I said this item was gifted, but if this item hadn't have been gifted, we would have purchased it because it was the only pushchair out there that was lengthways, not longways. So for me, yeah, that was really important. Another thing with the Quinny was the ability to choose your colour. You can choose the colour seats, and I went for the pale blue, I think it's called cool blue, on both. And for her hood I went for the coral, and then Alfie has the blue hood. It was during summer, it was October time, but I knew we were coming into summer, so I thought it would be nice for summertime. However, now it's been well used. I really want to go for the black, and I would personally recommend, if you're looking at seats, especially for a toddler, to go for the black seat or a darker seat, because I didn't take into consideration muddy feet, dirty feet on the foot bar. It it's quite hard to clean. So bear that in mind. Personally, to keep it looking fresh, to keep it looking new and tidy and clean, I would definitely go for the darker colour. Hoods, that's different. They can come off, they can be washed really easily. Another thing, like when it came to taking this off to wash, it was a little bit difficult, I would say. It was a bit of a pain to get the whole, you have to take the whole seat off and then put it in the wash. Yeah, so for me, I found it a bit of a faff. I've only done it once, whereas normally I would do it every 3 months just to keep it looking nice and clean. But because everything is built in, like you have to undo it all here, and yeah, it was just a bit of a faff. So I now just try and scrub marks as I see them, but it's really hard to keep, I don't know if you can see on the camera, it's really hard to keep this bit down here clean because they have shoes on all the time, so that's inevitable. The first thing I'm going to say with the baby cot, you have to bear in mind that this is the only way you can have the seats. When the baby gets bigger, there are so many versatile ways that you can have the layout of the pushchair, but when it's the baby cot and the chair seat, this is the only way. And for me, I didn't like that personally because the baby isn't facing me, and I always find that to be quite important when you're walking with a newborn, that eye contact, I find that quite important. So I would always have the hood down here. It meant that I tended to use the car seat attachment instead of using the baby cot whenever I could. That also helped when I was using the car because it was easier to just pop on and it took up less room in the boot. But that's just something to bear in mind. That might not bother you, but it didn't bother me to the point where, oh my god, because they're not in this for long. So it wasn't it wouldn't have put me off this pushchair at all. I just kind of couldn't wait for him to be in one of these, that was all. So yeah, it's so spacious though, this baby cot, compared to any of the other baby cots we've ever had for Pollyanna. It's very cozy inside. The only other thing for me, I would use the pushchair mainly to go into the town and pick up some pieces to get out of the house and give me something to do. You can't access the basket. Now this pushchair has a huge basket, unlike any other pushchair we've ever used, but you're unable to access it, which was a bit of a pain. If I wanted to get any shopping, it meant that I couldn't. You can get by an extra shopping bag which hangs on here, and I think they're quite big, they're like that. So for me, I didn't bother with the shopping bag because I knew it would just be a bit too much effort for me. So I just kind of would try my best to like stick things down the side, but you would only really be able to squeeze a little deodorant down there or something. You wouldn't be able to get anything down there. So what I would use, I had a little bag that Velcro strapped onto here. It was a miniature bag like this, so it didn't hang too low, didn't interrupt with the hood, and it would just hang here, and I'd put nappies, wet wipes, phone, all the little bits that I needed in there, rather than a big changing bag, because that was the other thing. I obviously couldn't put a changing bag underneath the bottom of this because the Carrycot was so big, so low, sorry. So a changing bag also hung too low, it would knock this quite a lot. So I found that getting a mini bag was a lot better, and in fact I prefer it, and I still use the mini bag today because it's so accessible and easy and lightweight. That is just so important. Another thing is you always have to bear in mind is that if you do want to use the car seat, you need extra attachments. Like you do with most pushchairs, when you put a car seat onto it, you will need extra attachments. So that was something I was always trying to like remember. I would try and store them in there, but that's just something to bear in mind. I think if you're a new mum, sometimes that can be a bit overwhelming, like thinking what attachments do you need. You get quite a lot of attachments with this pushchair. Let me show you. This is a bag of attachments that you get with this pushchair. My biggest tip to you all would be to label everything, because I would get myself in a bit of a faff thinking, especially if you're just about to leave the house and you're like, oh my god, I need the attachments. What one goes, what one's for the car seat? You get yourself in a faff. I'm just trying to mention as many things as I can to you, because so many of you have messaged me in the past on previous reviews saying that you've purchased the Pushchair because of my review. So I just want to be as honest, and I just want to give you as much insight into things that I would have done differently or chosen differently. When Alfie got to about 8 months, we switched out to the toddler seat. Now, to do that, you have to push the 2 buttons in at the side, which is quite simple, like that, and it just slides off. It's really, really easy when you're out and about and you have to get the pushchair into the car. It's so easy. So Alfie also had the cool blue seat, and when he was a little bit younger, I would face him this way. So you can have them in lots of different variations, which I recommend watching the video on the Quinny Hubb, but this is how I have it. Just slide on like so. So once Alfie left the baby cot and he was big enough to fit into the seat, I would have it this way so that we were facing each other, and I really enjoyed that after not being able to see him properly in the baby cot. The downside to this option, having it this way, but of course you can change it so that they can sit back more, I'll show you that later, but the downside to this was Alfie couldn't sit back very far. I don't think it sits back one bit, but it's still quite deep back. Alfie would always have no problem sleeping in it, so it wasn't ever an issue. I love that you can switch it up, so we have it this way. So then to swap that round and have Alfie a little bit taller, you would simply just put it into, so there's 4 holes along, no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's 5 holes along the basket, and to have them front facing back to back, I would use the first hole, and then to have Alfie a little bit higher, I would put this into the second one. So to get that one in, you just line the 2 up on the second one, and you might have to push it forward a little bit so that it recognises that it's changed. And there you have it. Make sure it's all clipped in. So it feels like it's not meant to go that way, but once you have got it into the slots and then lifted the back bit up, it's in. So when you use the 2 baby seats, like you can tell, the basket is huge. You can get so much under there. It's really, really helpful. So as you can see, Alfie is that little bit higher than Pollyanna at the front. She's on the very first one still, so it's only this seat that I've moved. If I put his foot bar down, because that actually can be manoeuvred up and down, Pollyanna can lie back like so, and Alfie can lie back completely. So it's great for him to be able to lie back. It all depends on ages and sizes, but now at the moment I would never be able to leave Alfie this laid back because his feet go into the back of Pollyanna. So ideally it would be a little bit laid back just for both of them, not massively. Another really great thing that I loved about the Quinny was the hoods. We have not needed an umbrella all summer because of the hood. So this is it unzipped, and then let me show you. You unzip it and it goes even further down, and then it has the bit where you can peekaboo on them. So that was a big bonus. I have found that with quite a lot of pushchairs, the hoods just are not great at all, or they're tiny, and I really can't stand umbrellas because they just don't do their job. They're not very sturdy. Another thing, if you're ordering the Quinny, is to bear in mind that when you order it, you have to order 2 of these bars. So, because when you get the Carrycot, one doesn't come with it. So at the moment we've only got one for Pollyanna and not one for Alfie. But if you want to hang toys on it, Pollyanna likes to have this. I don't know why. I think she just likes holding on to it. But I know a lot of people use it to hang toys on and things, so that's just something to bear in mind when you're purchasing it. When it comes to reclining them, it's so easy and smooth. It's just a little thing at the back that you pull and they float back. Another option for this, if you have a toddler, is you can take the seat off and have a footstool, which we have used a few times. But again, you have to think about the child in front, as they won't be able to lie all the way back if you have a toddler sitting on the stool. The stool comes over here. When it comes to folding it down, I find it really easy. So you just press the 2 buttons on each pushchair, although sometimes they can be a little bit stiff, which isn't so bad. But take one out and lay that down, and then I would take the other one out. Another thing, oh, the brake's not on, but another thing is these, having the bars on the pushchairs are really handy when you're putting them in the boot, in and out of the boot. So I really recommend having those bars on. So yeah, make sure the brake is on. Like a button at the back and 2 buttons on the front. So you press both down for the handlebars to go down. Shot there. So you press the button on the right in and give it a wiggle and it folds down. Now this is as flat as it goes, and it's, luckily for us, we have a big car. It fits in the boot okay, but we couldn't get anything else in the boot. For reference, a BMW X5, but that's another thing to consider. When you have the baby cot as well, that was even harder. But these are all things that when you've got 2 children, you really have to think about. Weight-wise, for me, it's quite heavy to pick up and get in the car, but it's not a problem. It's what you would expect. It's a really sturdy pushchair. It's not a travel pushchair, that's for sure. It's something to use daily. So that's how it goes down. And then, unfortunately, on the seats, the bits that clip into the pushchair, these don't come off. So when you're trying to pack it into the car, you really have to try and find a way. We normally put them in sideways like that, so that this goes in flat like that, and then we'll push them in that way on top of each other. But yeah, it's a pain that you can't take these off because that makes it harder, even harder to get into the boot. And when it comes to getting the pushchair back up, there is a Q button here, which you just press in. It's only on one side, and the pushchair comes up so easily and effortlessly. And then to get the handlebars up, you push the button in at the back. I push all 4 down, and then it comes up. Another thing with a double pushchair, which would happen regardless of what pushchair you went for, is remember the weight. This pushchair, not this pushchair, but pushing 2 children is so hard work. They're so heavy, but the way that the wheels move and things like that just make it a lot easier. I really hope you liked this video. I hope it was insightful for you. I've tried to share as many points, pros and cons, that I can. And like I said, some of them might not be problems for you, or some of the things that I like you may not like, but they're just things to consider. All in all, I am so pleased I went for the Quinny Hubb. I'm so pleased I didn't go for one side by side, because it just would not have been very practical at all. And again, I'm pleased that I went for something that was quite sturdy and quite well built, rather than something quite travel or lightweight, because it just wouldn't have done its job as they got bigger. So Pollyanna is now 2.5, over 2.5 now, and Alfie's nearly 1, and they're both in it like this, and it carries their weight, and it has been an absolute dream. So I really hope this video helps you. I'll leave a link to this pushchair down below, and the hoods and things that I went for. And if you have any questions, just leave me a comment in the comment box, and I will get back to you.